Hearing string 4, this is our third and final session for the day. Morning we've heard from the 42 officer and a couple of submitters, and in this post-lunch session we're going to briefly hear from Mr. Wesney in terms of the matters that the panel have raised during the course of this hearing and the matters that he needs to report back on. Wesney, over to you.
Thank you. So I've just put up on the screen the list of questions, and we're pleased to know it's the shortest list we've had for any hearing so far. This one, Commissioner Plimmer's question around what are the rating implications of applying Māori purpose zone? And I've added a sub-question. I think the scenario Commissioner Plimmer put was what implications or how does the rezoning of land to Māori purpose zone in the future, how does that have implications for rating? Second one, specific question around the two submissions seeking rezoning of Māori purpose zone land back to rural. There's a specific question around the legal status or ownership status of those two parcels of land.
Yes, particularly the issue there was whether the panel should formally ask for some advice from the iwi entities. That's the right term. It is, yes. Yes. Sort of a simple memo that outlines a bit of the background and context and how we got to asking this question.
Okay. And then the general question about subdivision under the Te Ture Whenua Act and what involvement council has, and provide a summary of that process for you.
Yes.
Anything further?
If there are any examples that councils have of that would be of use. No, possibly not.
And the general question as well, in terms of what does the National Policy Statement for Highly Productive Land have on Māori purpose zone lands?
Yes.
There's a specific question around the New Zealand Firefighting Water Supply Standard. The Māori purpose zone and the rural zones, the only zones to include the standard.
Yes.
Refer to what's covered in minute 8.
Yes. The reason that came up is submitters had asked for standards that's covered by standard 6, you see 6, that would change the permitted activity status to some other status if that standard's not met. I guess what I'm also looking for is any Section 32 analysis of that, if any. In
terms of non-compliance with that standard?
Oh, in terms of any Section 32 is analysis justifying the inclusion of that standard.
Okay.
Might not be any. And the differential approach between the rural zone, Māori purpose zone on one hand and the urban and open space zones on the other, at the time of notification at least.
Because that wasn't in the rural lifestyle zone. I had a quick look.
Okay, it's only in the general.
It was in the general rural, yeah.
Yes, minute 8, yes.
Then the next one, and again, Commissioner Plimmer, this was more of a question you asked of myself, but a couple of submitters as well. What are those considerations for future plan changes to rezone land?
Surrounding the submitter have to provide to actually.
In check the definition of Māori land and how.
So just on that, could maybe that's where you might be able to answer the question of is a definition required You've heard. So.
Yeah.
Number 7, check the definition of Māori land and how it is applied in other district plans, and added specific reference to Matamata Piako and Titai Potini plan on the west coast. But I'll search other plans as well that are comparable to the Wairarapa context. And then lastly, the specific point Mr. Cooper raised at the end about potentially the Urupa that isn't zoned multi-purpose. So I'll follow that up and find out the situation.
And paper roads.
Paper roads and landlocked.
Paper roads
And
in
land.
relation to landlocked.
Yeah.
Multi-purpose land.
Access to land.
Hamish, it was mentioned by Marama that Harmy Party has done a lot of work on this. So whether he may be the someone you can contact.
So should have a map of all paper roads anyway.
Yeah, but a lot of them are not correct.
They're on the GAs.
Sorry.
They're all on the GAs.
Yeah.
Are they?
Yeah, it should be.
Are they all on the right spot?
Every joint up to a road.
Any further questions for Hamish to follow up on? I've got one, Hamish. It's just about your 227 about the future process with the plan change. To the extent that you're able to, if you could perhaps explain how that might work, this sort of timeframe and the steps that would involve the people that might be consulted. It's probably largely unknown at this stage, but any definition around that process would be of assistance to the panels. Okay, that was all from me. Okay, I think you said earlier that around the 2nd or 3rd of December.
15 working days.
Yeah.
Direction today is the 2nd of December. That work from my perspective.
But we might be able to organise some deliberations around that. Okay, thank you for that. Thank you everyone that's attended. Sort of a rocky start to the day with change in venue, but we got there in the end. Thank you everyone for your patience on that. I declare the hearing closed.
Thank you.